In this video, I recreated Snowdin from Undertale, but as a VR experience. Hey, I'm just a game dev, and if you're not caught up already, I'm remaking the entirety of Undertale, but as a VR game. Undertale is one of the most popular games of all time, so why not make it into a VR game? So, here's how we're gonna do this. First off, I'm going to need a 3D map, because if you didn't know, Undertale is a 2D game, so I can't just steal the map from the original game. After that, I need to add the ability to interact with objects and stuff. This feature helps you progress in the game, and it also allows you to do stuff like this. And for our last task, I'm going to be adding some story. Basically, just a lot of cutscenes. Undertale is heavily story driven, so I'ma need this. There's also way more things I want to add, like battles, but those will be left for another vlog. Let's just work on the first thing, making a map. So, when making maps for my games, I usually get the layout of that map from the original game and absolutely trace over it with Unity's Pro Builder tool. It's super easy and I don't have to use Blender, which is really great because Blender sucks. Anyways, I found the layout of Snowdin and started tracing over it. Now we have a map, but it's kind of naked, so let's add some detail. And oh my gosh, wow, with just a click of a button, the map looks so much better already. Isn't game dev easy? Now the map looks cool. But what if we added extra detail? Yeah, I'm him. So I added some white fog. I also added in some snow with Unity's polygon system, of course. And now we're really starting to cook over here. Now that we finally have a map to use, I can actually get started with the first cutscene. So here's the rundown. In this cutscene, the player meets the character Sans for the first time. They chat a little, and then the player hides behind a lamp for a little while, because Sans' brother, Papyrus, is coming to capture you. They do some chatting, and then Papyrus leaves. And that's the first cutscene. Pretty basic, but hey, it's introductions, so what do you expect? I start off this cutscene by making some prefabs for Sans. One of him standing, one walking, and one with his hand out. I also did this for Papyrus. One walking, one idle, one with his cape blowing in the wind, and one of him stomping. And together, they look pretty nice. Hey, what can I say? I am a perfectionist. For this cutscene to even work though, the player has to go through a trigger for the scene to play out. And if you don't know what a trigger is basically a trigger. This is how most of the events work in this game. Pretty cooked, but hey, why try to improve something when it already works? Anyway, I made a code for the fog to turn black once the player enters the trigger, and after the player grabs Sans' hand, the black fog turns back to white. After that, I had to copy all the dialogue from the scene in Undertale and put it in my scene. And what do you know? The scene was already coming to life. All I had to do was make this lamp. And there we go. One cutscene was done. Only 5 more left, I think. So, for our next cutscene, Papyrus and the player finally meet, and Papyrus goes on ranting about how he's gonna capture you. And yeah, I think this should be pretty easy to create.
Alright, so it's like 3 AM, life sucks, I can't maul this rock.
Yeah, this cutscene sucked to make. Even though we already had the character prefabs made and a properly working dialogue system, I just couldn't maul this rock for the life of me. I did end up finishing it, and it's not my best work, but hey, I never did say I was a perfectionist or anything. And with that, the second cutscene was done. We just don't talk about the rock though. Let's move on from cutscenes for a little while and talk about interactions. In my original build of Undertale VR, you couldn't interact with practically anything, which really sucked because some objects have some pretty funny dialogue if you interact with them. For example, it looks like a snowball. Actually, it's a snow dodecahedron. Warning, dog marriage. Yes, you read that right. Look at these cool toys. They don't interest you at all. Just a regular old bucket of snails. Ah, the cactus. Truly the most tsundere of all plants. Oh, it's a water sausage. So obviously, I have to put these in my game. To start off, I made a code so that if Frisk enters a trigger and they press A while in that trigger, a string of dialogue starts playing. Once I had the system in place, I practically made everything interactable. Oh, that tree? Interactable. That rock over there? It's interactable. That dog? It's a bomb. That speck of dirt? Oh, you're not gonna believe this, but it's interactable. You see that worm right there? Yeah, he has a gun. He's also interactable. I may have went a bit overkill with the interactables, but hey, what do I say? I am a perfectionist, so everything I do must be perfect. Anyway, making the player be able to interact with objects was complete. What's next on our list? NPCs. Undertale has a lot of them, and they are a viable part of the story. For instance, if this guy never told me he likes hot guys, I literally would have never been able to get past this level 1 frogget. So yeah, let's add some. And no, I'm not just doing this to delay adding cutscenes in. I would never do that. I'm not that type of guy, okay? I made a bunch of the NPCs from Snowdin, like this rabbit, a mouse, and a slime. I also added one of the hottest NPCs in Undertale. So, if you're under the age of 100, you might want to look away because this guy, he's too hot for your eyes. Anyways, here he is, Grobies. I did say he was hot, so yeah. And can we just take a moment to admire the animation I made for him? 10 out of 10, best animation in game. I don't think you guys realize, but I had to move every single pixel to make this animation even work. So you guys better say, this is at least a 10 out of 10. And if you don't, bro, listen, I know where you live. This where you at, little bro? Yeah, I'm not playing around, buddy. Since all the NPCs are done now, we can go back to working on cutscenes. The next cutscene was the invisible electric maze thing. I don't know how to start this off. I made a new model of Papyrus getting zapped and one of him holding an orb. I also made a code that makes footprints of where he walks at. Since all that was done, we can just copy the dialogue from Undertale, add a ton of triggers, and what do you know? The third cutscene was complete. I will go over the fourth cutscene, but it's practically the same as this one, so we can actually start making some puzzles now. Because without these, we literally lose 40% of the gameplay for this game, so yeah. So, for our first puzzle, we have to hit this pretty well hidden switch. Once you do that, some spikes should disappear. I know, pretty hard, but in case you're blind and can't find the switch, I did label it with this comically large massive sign. So yeah, thank me later. And in case you still can't find it, I made sure to hide the location under some movable snow. Again, thank me later. Now, once this was done, I made this XO triangle puzzle thing. Basically, you have to turn all the X's into O's. To start this off, I created a X, O, and a triangle model in the software called Magical Voxel. After they were in Unity, I created a code that checks if the player stepped on the X. If so, turn it into an O. Once that was in place, I was able to create 3 puzzles of various difficulty. One was super easy, light work. One was medium, and the third one was humanly impossible. Learning curve? No. Learning spike. Pretty simple, right? Now we literally just created 30 minutes of gameplay. Puzzles came in clutch. That's all the puzzles in Snowdin, so now we gotta finish the rest of the cutscenes. But don't worry, there's only 2 left, so this will go by pretty fast. This next cutscene is personally my favorite, and probably one of the best cutscenes in the entirety of Undertale. Let me just show you real quick. This is literally the best scene in gaming, probably. To make this, I made a row of tiles and gave each of them a code to change colors. Once I had this, I made a way for the color changing ability to be called on by other game objects in the scene. So now, once a certain event plays out and the color change is called on, all of the tiles will change colors while playing some audio. The end result looks really good actually. What can I say? I am the best VR game dev out there. With that taken care of, we're finally about to start working on the last scene for Snowdin. But before that, you should totally subscribe. It helps recommend the channel out to more people, so the channel in game can grow. And if you don't want to subscribe, then just liking the video is fine too. The fact you already made it this far into the video already means a lot, so thanks. Now, let's finish the scene. To start off, we're gonna need some props like a cannon, a dog, fire in the hole, a spike, and a massive spiky ball. After creating all these in the best software known to mankind, Magical Voxel, I imported them onto Unity and gave them each an animation. Since this was done, it was just a matter of doing the same process I did for all the other cutscenes. Adding dialogue, triggers, and our scene was done. This whole project looks incredible, and I cannot wait to start adding some fights in, but those will be left for another vlog. Anyway, that's all I have for this vlog. Our next one is going to focus on fights, so yeah, stay tuned. All of this was really fun to make, and I hope it was fun for you to watch. So thanks for watching, and again, consider subscribing. Have a nice rest of your day, and I'll see you in the next one. Later.